For many years, the scientific community has operated under the belief that we are the only intelligent beings in the universe. Any unusual occurrence in the sky has been assumed to be a natural phenomenon. But what if the actual observable data suggests a different story? Over the past 60 years, our endeavor to find extraterrestrial intelligence has yielded no results until now. An object within our solar system is exhibiting behavior that defies expectations, and it has just sent us a signal. I'm Avi Loeb, and I assure you that the current events are grounded in evidence, not just belief. An extraordinary event is unfolding right now in our solar system, one that no human has ever experienced. In the early hours of October 17th, 2025, deep in the California desert, NASA's Deep Space Network detected a signal. Not just noise or static, but an organized, repeating electromagnetic pulse emanating from the enigmatic interstellar entity known as 3I Atlas, an object that has baffled scientists since its arrival in our solar system. This signal persisted for precisely 11.3 seconds per cycle, repeating with clock-like regularity every 47 minutes. As the data unfolds, it becomes increasingly unsettling. Within just 5 hours of monitoring, signal strength surged by over 300%, as if some force within that hollow entity was stirring, charging, and getting ready for what is to come. This surge in power is one of the most perplexing aspects. Natural phenomena such as pulsars are incredibly stable and do not simply increase by 300% within a matter of hours. This points to deliberate energy mobilization, indicating a capacity for decision-making. It's akin to the difference between a lighthouse and an intentionally directed spotlight. NASA engineers dismissed the possibility of instrument malfunction, while SETI experts ruled out natural explanations. What they were detecting was not random noise. It was communication, a coherent broadcast from something that may not even be a comet. Then, 3 days later, a significant shift occurred, as the signal didn't merely persist. It transformed. It became directional, and trajectory analysis indicated that it was aimed directly at Earth. Stay tuned, because what follows is poised to upend our understanding of the universe. When NASA's Deep Space Network first intercepted the signal from 3I Atlas, scientists suspected it could be a fluke, perhaps background interference from a satellite or cosmic static. However, upon examining the frequency, everything changed. The transmission came through at 1.42 gigahertz, precisely the frequency emitted by hydrogen, the universe's most prevalent element. This frequency is known as the water hole. Consider the radio spectrum as an enormous, chaotic stadium. The water hole is a notably quiet frequency range, shielded by the laws of physics. It's the designated location where any technologically aware civilization would know to listen. Selecting this frequency is akin to sending an email with the subject line, "Read me," written in a universal dialect. This was a conscious, intelligent choice. In essence, whoever dispatched this signal intended for it to be comprehended. But it wasn't merely a basic tone. Within the structured 11.3-second cycle were layers of complexity-nested patterns that appeared to convey encoded information. Think of Morse code, but far more sophisticated and operating on multiple temporal scales. Sub-patterns recurred every 1.7 seconds, and inside those rapid modulations, every fraction of a second flickered as if a hidden message lay concealed. NASA analysts brought in cryptographers, radio engineers, and even artificial intelligence specialists to attempt decoding it. After exhaustively cross-checking every natural source known to science, from pulsars and magnetars to quasars and solar interference, they reached a conclusion that reverberated throughout the agency. The likelihood that this signal is artificial surpasses 99.7%. That's when unease started to ripple quietly through NASA control rooms. If this signal wasn't a product of randomness or nature, then something or someone out there was intentionally communicating with us. Just as scientists began to comprehend what was happening, 3I Atlas surprised everyone by altering its message. 3 days after the initial detection, the pattern that had kept scientists glued to their monitors abruptly shifted. On the evening of October 20th, shortly after 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the transmission from 3I Atlas transformed into a focused, intentional burst rather than a steady pulse echoing through space. For 8 minutes and 24 seconds, the signal narrowed, collapsing from a broad cosmic broadcast into a precisely directed beam. Data from the Arecibo Legacy Observatory in Puerto Rico was reactivated in a flurry in response to this emergency, confirming the incredible. That beam wasn't drifting randomly through the void. It was aimed at Earth. Natural radio emissions disperse and radiate outward like ripples on a pond. What NASA was observing appeared engineered something capable of focusing electromagnetic energy across astronomical distances with surgical precision. The physics needed for this is staggering. To focus a beam so tightly over such vast distances requires either an aperture or dish possibly miles wide, or some exotic physics we don't yet grasp. This accomplishment signifies a technological development far beyond our own, originating from beyond the stars. Engineers repeatedly ran the calculations. The alignment was no accident. The orientation of 3I Atlas, the direction of the beam, and Earth's spatial location aligned perfectly. Someone or something had deliberately targeted us. Here's the unsettling part that kept NASA scientists up at night. The timing was crucial. The signal shifted just 9 days before 3. I Atlas was set to swing behind the sun, entirely concealed from our view, almost as if it were saying, "Watch closely before I vanish." Was it a greeting, a warning, or a countdown? No one at NASA had an answer. Yet, one truth emerged. Whatever resides within that interstellar Voyager had just made its initial move. By dawn on October 21st, the atmosphere within NASA transitioned from curiosity to controlled turmoil. In every control room, from Goldstone to Goddard, murmurs replaced chatter, and screens that had been filled with live telemetry now displayed only the word classified. The signal was real, it was directional, and it was intensifying. Under normal circumstances, a discovery of this magnitude would generate immense excitement in the scientific community, press releases, interviews, global headlines. But this time, there was silence. No tweets, no statements, just an absence of communication. Then, news leaked regarding something referred to as the Discovery Protocol, a classified emergency framework established by NASA following the enigmatic flyby of Oumuamua years prior. This protocol outlines precisely what to do if we ever find evidence of extraterrestrial technology. Step 1, verify the data. Step 2, notify government and military contacts. Step 3, enforce a 72-hour communication blackout before making anything public. This blackout aims to prevent misinformation. Unofficially, it serves to buy time. However, here's the catch. Those 72 hours passed without a word. We're now beyond the 5-day mark, and not a single agency, be it NASA, the European Space Agency, or China's National Space Administration, has spoken up. Even the International Astronomical Union, which updates discoveries almost instantaneously, has gone completely dark. I could no longer remain mute. As director of the Galileo project, I broke the silence with a post that quickly went viral among insiders. I stated, "We are experiencing institutional paralysis in the face of the extraordinary. This isn't indicative of how science traditionally operates. It reflects fear. Perhaps I am not mistaken. When every space agency worldwide abruptly halts communication simultaneously, one must ponder what they're witnessing that we aren't meant to know. Stay tuned, as the narrative shifts from secrecy to an even more disconcerting reality." 3I Atlas may not just be conveying a message, it could also be surveilling us and assessing our responses. Amid NASA's deepening silence, I felt compelled to do what scientists must contemplate: the unthinkable based on the data. If 3I Atlas is transmitting with intent, then the query is not just about what it is conveying, but why. I proposed 3 potential scenarios, each more unsettling than the prior. The first, which I call the benign hypothesis, suggests that 3I Atlas could be nothing more than an ancient probe, a robotic explorer sent forth by a long-extinct civilization, quietly fulfilling its programmed objectives. The signal might merely be a status beacon, a courteous announcement communicating, "I see you, I acknowledge your presence." Should that be the case, we are not under threat. We are simply a part of its cosmic data collection, one stop among countless others. Then comes the warning hypothesis. This theory posits that the timing of the signal, right before perihelion, when the object is closest to the Sun, is not coincidental. I speculated that the hollow interior of 3I Atlas could house smaller units or probes intended to deploy while it passes behind the Sun, the only point in time when we are unable to observe it. The message could be interpreted as a warning, a calm announcement amidst the dark, stating, "We are about to release something. Do not intervene." Finally, the third scenario, which unsettles even the most rational of minds, is the test hypothesis. This theory presents the most profound educational implications. Should it be a test? It's not a measure of our technological advancement, but an assessment of our maturity as a species. Can we unite globally when confronted with something so significant? Or do we divide into secretive, paranoid factions? The test isn't, can you construct a spaceship? It's, can you handle the truth? Because the stark reality is that humanity's response hasn't been one of bravery. Instead, it's manifested as silence, secrecy, and panic. If something out there is observing, that reaction constitutes data. Every pulse, every beam, every concealed government meeting is being noted not by us, but by whatever intelligence sent this signal. As 3I Atlas approaches the Sun, one question resonates louder than ever. Are we the observers, or are we the observed? By this point, every fragment of information about 3I Atlas has become impossible to ignore. The deeper my investigation went, the stranger it became, until I ultimately voiced what no one else dared to say. The likelihood that this is a natural object is diminishingly small. Let's dissect the evidence. The object behaves unlike any comet or asteroid in recorded history. It's hollow. Its internal density defies the notion of solid rock. It slowed as it entered the solar system, something no space debris could do without some form of propulsion. Its trajectory is flawlessly aligned with the ecliptic plane, only a few degrees off, a precision that would leave even our most brilliant space engineers impressed. And recall the Mars flyby. The timing was so precise that scientists estimated the odds of coincidence at less than 1 in 50,000. Then we have the green spectral emissions, peculiar chemical signatures that no known element can produce naturally. This spectral data is essential. We can identify burning elements through a technique called spectroscopy, enabling us to ascertain the composition of stars even from light years away. However, these green emissions don't align with any known element or chemical reaction. This indicates either an entirely new chemical phenomenon or, more likely, the residual product of an advanced propulsion system we cannot yet fathom. The chemical fingerprint assertively suggests a non-natural origin. Further, consider the coherent electromagnetic signal broadcasting at hydrogen's frequency, pulsing with intricate mathematical structure, and now narrowing into a directed beam aimed squarely at Earth. Suddenly, every coincidence fails to hold up. Each individual anomaly might stretch credulity, but together they obliterate it. The data doesn't point to a comet. It depicts a machine something crafted, an ancient entity traversing light years of interstellar space with intent. I warned then, and I caution now, that humanity may already be on the brink of first contact, and we are woefully unprepared for the implications of that reality. If this object is indeed studying us, it has likely been doing so for months, quietly observing, recording, and adapting. The signal we've intercepted might not even be a greeting. It could very well be an activation. As October 29th approaches, the date when 3I Atlas is set to disappear behind the Sun, the globe's most advanced telescopes are being repositioned, every sensor adjusted, and every antenna fine-tuned. Once it crosses beyond the solar glare, we will lose track of it for 3 lengthy weeks. When it eventually reemerges, we will see, as that date draws near, a subtle tension permeates the scientific community, the kind that vibrates in your bones when something monumental looms. 3I Atlas is just days away from reaching perihelion, its closest position to the Sun, and every deep space antenna on the planet is focused on its location. Yet something unusual is happening. The once strong signal is beginning to change. It's not waning, rather it's compressing, condensing into tighter, faster bursts, each more intricate than its predecessors. The hydrogen frequency now carries modulated harmonics, layered tones that some describe as musical while others interpret as mathematical poetry. No natural source can generate this. It's as if the signal itself is gearing up, building toward a climactic final broadcast. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, engineers observed something even more troubling. The object's velocity was slightly decreasing, suggesting it was applying reverse thrust. A comet approaching the sun should gain speed, not slow down. This represents perhaps the most critical piece of evidence. It is not merely an anomaly, it defies Kepler's laws of planetary motion. An object must accelerate when approaching a massive body like our sun. To decelerate requires an enormous expenditure of energy, indicating active propulsion. 3I Atlas isn't drifting, it's navigating. Yet, it defied gravitational forces as if it was deliberately resisting them. Meanwhile, telescopes in Chile, Hawaii, and Spain captured brief flashes of light dancing across its surface, triangular patterns rotating synchronously, resembling a sequence of code being played out in real time. Some scientists likened it to a communication protocol, while others interpreted it as a mechanical metamorphosis. Then, I stated the straightforward fact that should not stir controversy. When you observe geometry, symmetry, and modulation all synchronized in deep space, you are not witnessing a rock. You are seeing intent. 3 concentric spirals overlapped like a cosmic signature. Some claimed it bore resemblance to a magnetic field map. Others noted a striking similarity to an inverted DNA double helix. Following this, silence enveloped us. For the ensuing 72 hours, scientists worldwide feverishly dissected the data, scouring for any remnants. However, even the deep space tracking systems, those sensitive enough to detect Voyager beyond the heliopause, discovered nothing, not even a trace of dust. The trajectory that once held 3I Atlas was now eerily vacant. In an emergency interview, I explained it simply. When a natural object eclipses the sun, its emergence can be predicted. This object, however, failed to adhere to the laws of physics. It operated according to intent. Here's the unexpected twist. During the blackout, a new signal materialized not from deep space, but from our own upper atmosphere. The same pulse pattern, albeit reflected back toward the sun. Was it merely an echo, a response, or evidence that whatever Atlas is has already arrived? In the silence between our communications and the sun's glare, the landscape had shifted. Something unseen was awaiting. In 3 weeks, when it reappears from behind the sun, the world will finally grasp the truth. Late in November, after a prolonged 3 weeks of anticipation, 3I Atlas emerged from behind the sun. But what astronomers observed defied all expectations. It wasn't merely continuing on its predicted path, something had shifted, as if it had intentionally adjusted its course. Now, the world was faced with a momentous decision to continue in awe of the spectacle or make an attempt to engage in communication. An unsettling realization emerged. Whatever intelligence sent 3I Atlas is scrutinizing us, gauging our reactions, and potentially evaluating whether humanity is ready for contact. As the nights progressed, the message grew more apparent. The universe wasn't simply presenting us with a visitor. It was issuing a challenge, a warning, a question. What will our next move be? Are we equipped for the answer? The most vital takeaway here transcends the mere strangeness of the universe. The lesson pertains to the scientific method itself. We must pursue the evidence wherever it leads, even when that path contradicts our most cherished beliefs. Our institutions have shown a preference for comforting silence over confronting uncomfortable truths. This reflects a lack of courage. The real test is not just their arrival, it's whether we possess the maturity to recognize what lies before us. This object serves as a reflection, highlighting our scientific paralysis. The data is at your fingertips. What does the evidence articulate to you? Do you align with my hypothesis? I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. This represents the most crucial conversation humanity can engage in. If you believe in following the evidence, regardless of how extraordinary it may be, then subscribe to this channel as we continue our quest for truth.